Good morning. My name is Joe Brzezinski. I'm council member and former mayor of the town of Los Gatos. I've been on the town council for 16 years, and I am very much proud of the fact that the Los Gatos community has a new member in its business sector, and that is Ease Plan Incorporated. I had the opportunity yesterday to spend some time with the principals of this organization over at the offices on University Avenue. And in town, we make real efforts to appreciate and acknowledge those new businesses that come into our community, because we really feel that we have to provide a complete service to our citizens. Of course, today is a typical winter day in Los Gatos. I think the temp is supposed to get up to about 68 around 3 o'clock. And that just also coincides with the quality of life that we try to continue to reaffirm for our citizens. I've lived in town since 1974. And at that time, I was looking around for a place to set down roots coming from Southern California. And this was the only place. And since that time, I've felt that this was a community that really cared about its citizens, cared about the concept of small town, and tried to present a quality of life that was second to none. And I think we're accomplishing that every day. What I want to say from a personal perspective is that I want to welcome Ease to our community, not from the official town perspective, but from my own. I'm in that category of population that is the strongest, the largest demographic in town. That would be 55 plus. I know it's hard to believe, but the fact that we have this demographic as the fastest growing demographic is really, really obvious for us. People don't want to leave town once they're here. Now, I know a lot of you are not from Los Gatos, so I welcome you. And I hope that your experience here today will allow you to focus on our town as a really, really congruent place to live, work, raise a family, enjoy small town quality of life, but more importantly, to take a look at your future. Because one of the things that I know from personal experience is that these times become more difficult. I'll give you my story. My father passed away about 5 years ago at age 89. There are 3 sons in our family. Myself was as the oldest, my brother Bob as the second, and my third brother Jim. It's a pretty white bread family, Joe, Bob, Jim, when you think about it. The fact is that Jimmy lives in Tucson, I'm up here, and my father was at the family home in Inglewood down in Southern California. My brother Bob, who lives in Manhattan Beach, therefore was the person called upon to take care of Dad. And as he got older, more and more was required of Bob. And I have to say to this day, that's one of the things that I most respect about my brother, is that he was able to shoulder the burden of taking care of my father as he was going into his last days. Eventually, we were able to get a individual to come in to take care of him during the day, and then hospice care. And one day I get the call from Bob saying, "You got to come down. I think this is it." And the whole family was at Dad's bedside when he passed away. And I feel really fortunate to have had the experience of being able to be there for my father when he stayed at home and had chosen not to go into any special care because that's where he wanted to be. I know it was very difficult for Bob to deal with that situation. And I remind him every time I see him how much I appreciated what he did for us. Not everybody is as fortunate as I to have a brother who could be there in that time of need and offer the opportunity to focus on what my dad's wishes were. And I think that's why we're here today, to take a look at a part of life that we're all going to face and make sure that we are prepared to deal with that. Again, for me, it's a question of quality of life. I've spent the last 16 years in town council working to achieve that for a lot of people in our community. Before that, I spent 40 years in secondary education as a teacher, counselor, and administrator. And I know that it's really important that people care for each other and take those steps necessary to make sure that those people who cannot care for themselves at a certain point are given the appropriate assistance. So when I was introduced to EASE yesterday, I felt today would be for me not so much a chance to advocate as much as a chance to learn. And that's why I'm here today with you, to learn about EASE, to learn about what they can provide for members of our community and a broader community in Santa Clara County. I wish you well in this experience today, this seminar, in effect. I know that in talking to the principals involved with EASE yesterday, that it's a very, very extraordinary group of people who are here to provide a service that is unique, I think, and as part of the Los Gatos community is very much appreciated. And therefore, I'm very pleased to introduce the CEO and founder of EASE, Janice Carney, who is here and is going to now present the program's overview. Janice?
Thank you, Councilman. I really appreciate all those words. Thank you all for being here. I truly appreciate it. Carol, John, Peggy, everyone that I know, so many of you out here, and I would love to get to know the rest of you. Phyllis has been one of my law clients for many, many, many years, and also part of the elder care services that I was privileged to provide as part of my law firm. So the EASE plan, we're going to, I'm going to go over in a few minutes the materials that are in front of you. There's a packet of materials. I'm going to go over those things. I want to point out that there's some things from Dr. Landsberg. We're going to introduce her, but those are on your table as well. There's a spiral notebook there. That's a gift for you, and as well as the pen, so you can take notes if you want to today. And if you sign up and become a member, it's also going to be part of the emergency kit that we're going to be telling you about. There, I believe there's some hand sanitizers. I'm not sure that they got here. That if you get one of them, be sure to note that it's a hand sanitizer, not a breath spray. Somebody did that about a week ago. They opened it up and it looked like a cute little breath spray, and it was nasty. So not a good idea. So the EASE plan, does everyone remember a TV show back from the 70s called Marcus Welby, MD? Yeah, you do? So that was the idea of a patient advocate, wasn't he? I mean, he was sage, and he went after the best for his patients. He followed them, whether they were in his office or they went to the hospital or they went to the nursing home, whatever was happening to them, he was there for them to be a one-on-one advocate. Of course, he was a doctor as well. We're not doctors, but we are, the team that I have are RNs, they are psychotherapists, they are occupational therapists, they're licensed social workers. So they are a team of people who are professionals in the healthcare industry that will be able to follow our member from home through the medical system in the hospital to nursing homes and back home again. And that's the idea. Just as Councilman Praninsky, I have always had a trouble with that. But Praninsky mentioned it's it's most of my clients' wish have always been to be able to get back home again. I mean, once in a while, home becomes a senior community, but they want to be as independent as possible and in control of their life. Nobody wants to not have control. So our goal is to help people through regain quality of life or preserve their quality of life by helping them make sure that the care that they get is appropriate and safe and what they need at the right time. So we want to become that advocate, that Dr. Welby without the MD, okay? And the concept is being welcomed. I've got to say, every time I turn around, I hear of another doctor who has heard about this and says, oh my gosh, this is what I really think is needed in the industry. It's going to be the bridge that gives the ability for doctors to do what they really want to do, and that is help us all. The unfortunate thing is our medical system now in our country is basically controlled by the insurance companies. And the doctor that you might have, family doctors aren't family doctors anymore, they're PCPs, right? So it's even taken away from us that personal connection. And if you have a personal connection with someone who knows you, knows your medical history, knows all of your medications, knows what you're like. Are you that person who never will complain? Oh no, I'm fine, dear. Or are you the person who complains about everything? Now that's okay, you can complain about everything, but we want to be able to tell the doctors that this is a not normal for you, whatever it is. And so, because those doctors aren't Dr. Welby, they don't know you because you've gone into the hospital or you've gone in an emergency. Now, this is not just emergency care. This is for anyone who needs to go to the hospital. If you are facing major surgery, and you want someone to go to the doctors with you to hear what the issues are, to help you figure out whether you should go through with it or not. Many clients have talked to me about that kind of thing. It's so confusing. There's also situations where someone's afraid that they're going to get a very significant diagnosis when they go to the doctor. Is the doctor going to tell them they have cancer? When that happens, you will go into shock. And the family who's with you, if there is any, go into shock. And they can't hear anything that happened. Colleen has told me a number of stories about that they would call her back 3 or 4 days later. Now, what did they say? What are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go? If you had your professional care advocate with you, that would never be a question for you. You would know because she knows. So that's sort of the reason I'm behind this, is that I'm passionate about advocating for individuals. They don't have to have been my clients, my law clients. I'm still going to be doing law, but this is, as other people have told me, seems to be my passion. So I'm thrilled to be have you at the inaugural launch of the program. We already have members, so you're not going to be the first if you sign up. Bob back there was one of the first. He wasn't even the first. So, but we're on our way, and if this works in our county, it's going to spread. And I'm already getting calls from people across the country that said, "When are you bringing it to Maryland?" Okay, Maryland. All right. Well, let's check on that. So I've got a slideshow. Where's Mike? Mike is going to start up. Where's the? Okay. Thank you, Mike. So I'm going to show you some slides and tell you a little bit more about the program. So again, I'm not, while we're talking about emergency, this is not just emergencies, but we want to make sure that we are there if there is an emergency. Advocacy then starts with the emergency or whatever happened, the medical crisis, I guess you could say. And it doesn't end until you're back home and you're safe. And even then, it doesn't end because we're ready for the next crisis. And our slogan is, no one should go to an emergency room alone, ever. So the plan, the care advocates start by coming to your home to meet you and to get to know you as a person, to get to know your medical history, and to put it all into a secure HIPAA. Does anyone know what HIPAA means? It's Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. That means privacy. So that's the Privacy Act. So it's a HIPAA compliant database, secure, that is cloud-based so that when they go off to the emergency room to be with you, they have right on their tablet. Tablets aren't those things in front of you anymore. They're the electronic things now, you know. So they're on a tablet, and they can access it and tell the medical personnel at the emergency room exactly what your medications you're on, what your diagnoses have been, what you're allergic to, if you're allergic to any drugs. One of our clients, he was in the hospital, and they asked him if he was allergic to anything, and he thought, hay fever or something like that. And comes to find out, they did all these tests on him and gave him some antibiotics and various things. And later, when our care advocate was with him, she was going over things, and she said, well, are there any drugs that you're allergic to? And he says, oh yeah, sulfa. And what would happen? Oh, I'd probably die, So that would have been important for fortunately they didn't give him something that killed him, but it was just by fortune. He could have died just because they didn't know that information. That happens all the time. The emergency room doctors tell me their biggest challenge is that somebody comes into the emergency room and they know nothing about this person. They come in cold to them, and they have to build it. And that's part of the time that takes in an emergency room and why we wait so long, because they may be trying to find out things from your PCP, wherever that person is, and other things about you. So having all this information is vital there. Of course, if you're capable of telling them your history and what you're on, that's great too. But you're not going to be at your best if you're in an emergency room. You're either really sick or you're injured. And that's not the kind of state of mind that you're going to be your best advocate. So it starts with getting to know you, putting your information in the database, and then we check on you at least quarterly, and we want you to let us know when anything changes. And we are going to invite you to at least quarterly events. They're a social and an educational opportunity to help you learn to be an advocate for yourself with your doctors. It's going to also be a social, so you can get to know the other members. There are many of our clients we believe are going to be people who don't have a good support system already, a family and others, and that they want to have other people that they could call on. So if they get well, they go back home, they want to be able to have somebody go to the store and buy their groceries, go pick up a prescription, maybe bring in some meals while you're recovering. And that's the idea of the socials, that people might form a sort of neighborhood of ease members and start doing for each other. We're going to try to set that up, but it's completely a voluntary kind of thing. Some people will join, and others will find that they don't think that that's appropriate for them. The emergency, when an emergency happens, the care advocate will be called. We have, you'll have in your materials when you become a member, membership cards that you'll have in your wallet. There'll be one for the front of your refrigerator, one for in your glove compartment that says, in case of a medical emergency, call my care advocate at this big phone number. So EMTs and everyone else will immediately know who they should be calling, who's your person. And that phone call will be direct into our care advocate who is on call. There's no into a operator or anything like that. You will, or the person who is calling will get directly into our care advocate. We have that set up. The care advocate will then dispatch herself immediately to the emergency room, any of the 10 hospitals in Santa Clara County, so that they will be there as quickly as possible. Barring terrible, terrible traffic, they should be able to be at the emergency room within an hour. So then the advocacy gets underway, and they're talking to the doctors, the nurses, everyone. It's amazing that Colleen, who is an RN, who's one of my head advocates, was telling me that the difference in the attitude of the doctors and the nurses in the hospital, in the emergency room, when they find out that the care advocate is there and the care advocate is a licensed healthcare professional, it's immediately, they give the respect that comes and the, oh my gosh, yes, please come and help us. They're welcoming this person in. It's not someone who's in their face and trying to do something that is making their life harder. It is, in fact, helping them provide for the patient. They're very welcome. So that's what's going to happen. The person who is in the emergency room, the member, the care advocate will stay with them the entire time they're in the emergency room, whether that's 2 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours. And they'll stay there. Now, that advocate might have to be replaced with another one of our advocates if the shift is over, but that we'll try to keep it with the same person. And then if you're either discharged home or you're admitted to the hospital, and they'll make sure that either one of those you're safe, you've safely gone into one of those two directions. If there is a death, that advocate will be immediately calling your family. They will be calling your family if you want. This is personal and private. So if you don't want your family called, we won't be calling your family. That's the information we gather from you ahead of time. Who is it that you want to have called? Do you have a daughter in Seattle or somewhere else that you want called? We will be calling them, letting them know, keeping them updated on your situation if you want. A question that I get sometimes is, will we be that health care surrogate for you under your Advanced Health Directive? We choose not to be because that's really a family position. We don't intend to take the role of your family in this, but if you have no one, we will be talking with you about how to cope with that. So we will be on the phone with your healthcare advocate, that daughter in Seattle, and letting her know so that she can make decisions in that event. So then we'll go off to, as I said, some of the things that we'll be doing. So because we're getting to know all of your medications up front, and we have RNs on our team, the RNs will be looking at your list of medications and making sure that you aren't on 5 different blood pressure medications. Literally, I had somebody who was, and she was in a stupefied kind of situation, and we're surprised actually that she's still alive, right? That her blood pressure was taken so low. So people tend to get medications from different doctors. They saw a substitute doctor, and so they're on lots and lots of medications, and that can cause problems. So we'll be looking at that. We're not your doctor. We aren't telling you shouldn't be on them, but if we see any red flags, we're telling you to go talk to your doctor. Okay. We'll be assessing needs, so our care advocates are healthcare professionals, and they can assess needs and prepare care plans for when you're ready to be discharged from that hospital, so we can help you get into the right kind of rehab facility and get back home again with the right kind of support in your home. In our programs, we're going to be doing educational programs, as I said, and we can do Medicare and insurance appeals with you. Now, if it gets into the legal side of that, the Ease is not a law firm, but we will tell you when we think that you should have a lawyer. Can you hire my law firm to be that lawyer? That's up to you. I mean, you can, but we'll also refer you to other lawyers if you choose to. So the plan is you're going to get to know, the advocates are going to get to know you. When you have a medical emergency, you're taken off, and then the care advocate arrives at the hospital to be with you. They're going to help you understand your medical condition and evaluate the treatment options and the care options. The advocates are going to then be talking with your doctors, your insurance, your hospital, a nursing home, whoever are the appropriate people to talk with. We may appeal for longer stays in nursing homes. This has been going on for quite a while with the care coordinator in my law firm, is that the nursing home tells you, okay, we're going to stop, Medicare is going to end on Friday and you'll have to go home. What they're really saying is the therapy is going to be finished on Friday and Medicare is going to stop paying for you. And so we have done a number of Medicare appeals and gotten significant more rehab for clients. Going to keep your family informed if appropriate. Again, that's up to you. And we're going to monitor the new care plan and your health and your treatment as you go forward. Again, we're not your doctors, but they are healthcare professionals, so they're going to be your personal, private care advocate. And they're professionals. So it's not just your daughter who loves you and is going to be with you. We're going to have a lot more expertise in that. So I've seen the tremendous benefit of having a trained professional advocate and care coordinator on my staff over the years, and that's one of the reasons I've come to know that this is so needed in the community now. We are taking new memberships now, so I'm inviting you at the end of today if you'd like to join, and we will be able to sign you up. Trust, confidence, peace of mind, compassion, caring, 24/7, experienced and professional, and it's for all ages. It's not just for seniors. We are willing to take any client of any age. I don't think there'll be many children, but we're expecting that there may be people who are maybe not married, they don't have any family in the area, they've come here from whoever, Minnesota, and they're on their own here. And while you might have lots of friends, are you going to be able to call those friends at 3:30 in the morning and have them come and stay at the emergency room with you for 12 hours and advocate with you with your doctors? So we invite all those people who want to become our members.